What's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast episode. And today we're mainly going to talk about the Inter game, maybe mention the Crotone game a bit, but not too much to talk about. Like, there was Mayoral with a brilliant performance, good goal, first goal, and then a brilliant second goal. Other than that, not too much.
Not the dominated midfield.
Yeah, exactly. Very good midfield. But other than that, not too much to talk about. It's
and Paul Lopez's miracle save.
Yeah,
true. Two good games now.
Wait a minute. He didn't do a miracle save in Crotone, did he?
Yeah,
he did a pretty good save just before the goal, like the save that got them the corner was.
Also, he did that when Mancini passed it back and Crotone striker went on. He somehow.
Paul Lopez's miracle save.
Yes,
exactly.
Miracle save. Unbelievable. But honestly, because there was the first shot and then it came back to the guy, or rather the guy tried around him, he got a hand on it, which is not easy at all. Yeah. And then he gets a hand on the pass back as well. That's actually fantastic goalkeeping. Yeah. That's cool. And I just want to say on Power as well quickly, he fucking finally punched across.
Yes. And it's
like
it's almost exactly a year after the Derby mistake.
Now is your coming of age. This next game.
Actually, this is him coming out of his cocoon as a butterfly.
If he fucks the Derby, it's over.
Yeah. But if he does well, then his place is cemented for a long time at least.
This is the first time I've been excited for Pau in almost exactly a year.
Same.
Yeah, Pau's come along, but he seems to have the right attitude.
Yeah,
It's the hair.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to sit with him till the summer.
Yeah.
And then obviously continued if he keeps playing like this.
Exactly, like evaluate him through the season. But as I said before, if he makes if he makes a couple of mistakes in a row in the future, like even if it's a few months from now, then I feel like he has to get sold, just because it shows that as soon as he makes the mistake, he doesn't have the mentality to get right back.
The thing is, people might overlook the Inter game because he conceded 2, but those were pretty much 2 impossible.
Exactly, and he had some very good saves, like 2 or 3 very world-class saves.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single keeper in the world who would save that Hakimi shot. And anyone would say that Skriniar header as well.
No, impossible. For me, he was man of the match in that game. But
I think definitely, up there 100%. There was, I don't think anyone else saved the result quite as much as he did. So
exactly.
You can't really give it to him.
Overall, though, like if you look at the whole game, we played better we played well for big parts of the game, but we just had these collapses like we've had in all the big games. And whether we've discussed a lot whether it's mental or tactical, and I think Paolo made it pretty clear this is a mental problem in his interview. He said that he doesn't want the team to fall back like this and just defend. He wants us to be a more possession-based team, even versus the big teams, and we just don't.
Honestly, my biggest thing that was concerning me is that this guy doesn't believe, because when he arrived, I distinctly remember him saying, we need an identity, and he's been saying in the last few weeks as well, we need an identity, and etc. And even if we change a few things, we need to play the same way. Yeah. And I thought his interpretation of that is this. But I mean, hopefully it is a
but the thing is
mental thing. But at the same time, saying it's a mental thing, is that not kind of shifting the blame onto the players?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we do have an identity. It's very clear. It's Fonseca ball, which is a new term. We have a lot of combination play, running down the wings, just possession and counters.
But still not Fonseca's identity.
It's been a year and a half, and if he really wanted his team to play a certain way in big games, he has to make that happen within a year and a half.
Yeah.
If it's 3 months in, sure, they didn't play like he wanted to. Fine, it's been there for 3 months. But when it's over a year, you have to be able to make your players play in a certain way.
Although, to be fair, before, like last year, we played we played much better in the big games. Even if we did lose some games, like versus Juve when we lost 3-1, we still dominated possession and did concede the goal, but like the goals and lost the game. But the idea was there.
Then
So
with the beginning of the season as well.
Huh?
Like you in the
Yeah.
beginning of the season.
exactly. So I think maybe something happened with the Napoli game. I would assume that maybe the players were tired and then they lost confidence for the Atalanta game. Then it happened again. I don't know what.
Ignoring that. Are you intentionally ignoring the true reason behind the Napoli result, or
The spirit
because we all know why? It
Yeah.
was the spirit of Maradona.
Exactly.
And
There's a reason he's called Dios. Dios. There's a reason.
True.
Because he's beyond the mortal realm. He definitely had an influence in that game.
Yeah.
And it's a pity. It's such a pity that Napoli fans are the way they are, because I actually love Maradona so much, and I'd love to like enjoy something from that club. But when you have fans like they have fans, it's just difficult. It's just so difficult. Sorry, anyway. Maradona. So that was Maradona for Roma, no?
Yeah.
I mean, the way those long shots were going in.
yeah.
Exactly.
Please.
But what I'm saying, anyways, is I think maybe that had a mental impact on the players, and maybe that's the reason. And I'm not blaming the players on this. I'm blaming Fonseca because he is like, as a coach, you're supposed to like keep the group together and create a good environment, a good mentality. So obviously, partly the players are to blame too, but Fonseca is also to blame for this mental issue.
There was also another very important factor. What a difference it can make to a result when your keeper's saving two instead of gifting two.
Yeah.
Because if we had Mirante, this would have been 6-1. Because he wouldn't have saved those, and he would have gifted them another two.
Yeah.
So thank you, Paul Lopez. Because I mean, with that shift, with the keeper who if he could play like that week in and week out, you're looking at it. I mean, if you don't end up going 4-1 because of your keeper against Napoli at stage 2-1, you could get an equalizer in the 90th. You know, that's 2 points to us. That's 2 points away from Napoli, a point to us. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know, so things like that. A keeper in form, a keeper making critical saves, it just makes such a difference to your season. And vice versa when they're playing like ours were playing.
Speaking of difference, I'm very, very glad that Smalling is back to his last season form, because it took him a while to come back. I think it was like in early December when he actually started to play
well
on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly.
And his impact is so huge. It's just a calming presence, and he is one of the few players in the team that always shows up in big games.
Yeah, handle Lukaku very, and he is different to our other center backs in that he is a bit smarter than them and obviously more experienced. So he handled Lukaku so well throughout the game, because Lukaku didn't do anything when Smalling was near him.
It's very nice to be able to have someone to mark that number one striker, and having two very agile and still competent center backs to take care of the rest, if you know what I mean.
And sorry, continue. Sorry.
No. I mean, I was nearing the end of my point. I mean, because in a 2-back line, it could be like it's Smalling against Lukaku, and then it's Mancini against pretty much the rest, if you know what I mean. I mean, the wing backs in the 4-back line is not going to help out in the same way. So having both Mancini and Ibanez with the speed and intelligence that they both have is huge when they work together like they can.
Yeah, I think a big problem was what you actually needed was to somehow make it so that, you see, where Vidal was very clever is he attacked the space behind Martinez because Smalling had to mark Lukaku, and then Mancini's on Martinez. If he attacked Ibanez space, you have Ibanez, you can deal with Vidal. But that space behind Martinez, you don't have anyone to then step up and deal with him once he gets to the edge of the box,
And
if he loses his midfield, etc.
exactly,
So
and that's something that has been very clear, that there's too much space between our defense and midfield. Even though we drop back, there's always this area that we don't have a defensive midfielder like Diawara to cover up. So
And-
that's why teams get second chances against us, because no one tidies up the mess.
And I do think Veretout at times make this worse because he presses up so much more than anyone else.
He overcommits like crazy sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And with a guy like Villar next to him, who great game versus Crotone, good player, but yesterday he wasn't great until the 65th because he can't defend on his own. Like he's not a good enough defender to handle that whole inter midfield when Veretout pushes up. And I realized something, that Veretout doesn't run back nearly as fast as he runs up to press. And this is a bit of an issue because he leaves gaps. And
although that being said, huge credit for his play for the first goal.
Yeah,
You know, the foul
Veretout-
on Barella.
that was
Veretout had a great game overall.
That was very nice.
No, I just particularly there. That was fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, no,
'cause
I just wanted to make clear. I thought Veretout had a very good game.
And even though Villar didn't have the best game, he still showed why he will be a world-class midfielder, because having that calm in the 85th minute against Inter being down, as he did with the corner, everyone was expecting cross in, like everyone was ready for it, but he just took his time. To be fair, no one came out to press him, which is Inter fault. But the way he stepped up and found that in that way was very impressive, in my opinion.
And he was a big part in winning the corner because he chipped a very good ball into Dzeko, who took a shot. It then bounced to Mancini, who took a shot, and we won the corner from that. But Villar was the one that started that whole attack that won us the corner.
Maybe it's just grasping, but I feel like there's good signs there.
Yeah, Villar overall. But as I've said in the WhatsApp group chat, I don't like him starting in these big games yet because of that defensive vulnerability. I would rather have him come on because he's very good when pressing for that equalizer. But inevitably, like if you're leading, you are going to get pressed back, and he will need to defend more than he attacks. Especially like even if you keep the lead to the 75th and keep possession until that, when you get to the 75th minute, the other team is going to press on no matter what happens. And Villar isn't quite good enough defensively yet, although he has taken big steps, and he will get there. So, I don't like him starting in these big games. In every other game, he should start, but in these big games, I would rather have someone else starting and him coming on.
And
Who?
that someone else could be a certain player that has begun his redemption story, maybe? Question mark?
But this is what I was going to get to. I don't know if we have that player who should start, but Pellegrini is a bit better defensively. Like he's more mature, I guess.
But then you're gonna have to explain to us for half an hour why you don't want Pedro to start.
Yeah,
exactly. But the issue then is we don't have anyone to play in front of him, so we don't have a complete squad. For now, I think it's right to start Villar, but I mean maybe we need an upgrade in that attacking midfield so that Pellegrini can just play these smaller games.
Did we release Pastore and Zaniolo? I don't remember. Did we release them? I don't remember if we cancelled their contract or not.
I mean, Zaniolo is coming back, but Pastore, I don't know what happened. He doesn't seem
He's
to.
coming. Aspect. He's coming.
Like
well, we will have two redemption stories. We will have Pastore and Cristante, because Cristante, when in midfield, is a great asset.
Yeah, Cristante, brilliant game from him.
This is his redemption arc.
Yeah.
I love. What is wrong with him? Why do we score every time he comes on? And why doesn't? Will that happen if he starts?
Who knows?
These are the questions we need to be asking.
He was directly responsible for two of the goals against Crotone. He basically took two of their midfielders' heads, bashed them like this, won the ball, and passed it to Majoral, who scored. And then he had that Totti-esque pass when he just first touched it with his back against their goal, just
ridiculous.
launched a long pass to Karstorp, which led to a penalty.
And he had another ridiculous pass that no one talks about for some reason. He was from his own penalty box to Karstorp, who was like through, but then Recha like touched it and he went like Karstorp let it go out for a corner because he had no one with him. But he launched like a 50, 60-meter long ball. And it was so accurate.
Reza Spinazzola backup question mark?
But this is what doesn't make sense about Cristante. And I don't know him well enough before he came to Roma. Was this always his thing?
Yeah, but I mean, he was involved in a lot of goals in Atalanta.
No, but I mean, was this like hitting 50-meter passes with back to goal and also like I didn't know he was a deep lying player. I thought an Atalanta played closer to goal. So where do these long passes come from?
You know what the thing is? He was always good at passing, but at Atalanta he's also very good at arriving late in the box, and we saw that because he had a long shot yesterday when he Dzeko got the ball and he was up there. Anyways, he's very good at that as well.
Shoot more.
It's a great shot.
If he actually plays a center mid for a solid 15 games, I could see him scoring 2 or 3 long shots.
Yeah.
I'm just worried he's just too slow.
Mm.
If he was faster, he would be maybe our best midfielder. Honestly,
I would say more agile.
So much away from him.
The thing is with Cristante that he has so much quality in areas which are very hard to teach someone. Like the technique he has it's nothing you see in an everyday player.
No.
It's Bonucci, it's Ibanez can also do that because they have a similar technique. The way he's so strong as well. He's very,
and that's why I don't think he needs the agility because he's got that. I mean, if you don't need to get around a guy if you can go right through him.
I mean,
but I mean, like
if he goes up front and he gets caught up front and they counter him, fucked because he can't get back. That's the problem.
Yeah, maybe it's more about acceleration, but like he can't put pressure on the same way that Diawara used to be very good at that. Pellegrini,
to bring something that no other.
Can I tell you the 2 things he needs to add to his game, and then he can start?
Yeah.
He needs to learn how to tactically foul.
Yeah.
And he needs to learn how to win fouls. Because have you noticed the guy never goes down?
Yeah.
Never. When you are slow and you have the ball in our half, what you need to do is you need to use your strength to draw a foul to relieve the pressure. That's what if he can add that to his game, I think he'd be more than good enough because his problem is getting caught under pressure.
Yeah.
And there's no substitute for speed, but there've been many slow players who made it work with these type of tools, Look at Busquets, He's not fast at all, but he's a fantastic tactical fouler. He's fantastic at reading the game just before his team lose the ball, so he knows where the counter's coming from, so he can cut it out before he needs to use speed. Yeah. And then he dives every time anyone gets near him, so you can't catch him out.
With everything,
if Cristante can develop those 3 things, the rest of his skill set is perfect.
With all this said, I think we need to find a 5th choice center back because I never want to see Cristante center back instead of center mid again.
Agreed.
Yeah, because what that guy brings up going forward.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a waste of him when
also
I've said this numerous times.
Already. Why do we need to change a good midfielder into one?
I've said this numerous times. He brings that second wave against especially deep lying teams where they just toss away the ball to get it out of pressure. Then Cristante comes and swoops up and gets that ball to immediately start a new attack.
And that was a big thing yesterday versus Inter. The way that Villar and Cristante worked together to constantly keep them. Sure, Inter had their faults as well, but like I'm just saying, they worked very well in constantly putting pressure, and then Villar won the ball back. And then we put pressure. Either they put it long or Villar won the ball back all the time. And that's how we could keep the pressure for the last 10 minutes.
And these 2 games, they work pretty well together, Villar and Cristante. They complement each other in a good way and seem to have good communication. Since Villar is always communicating and everything, they can help each other.
The only thing I don't like about it is the lack of mobility.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Villar brings that for 3 Cristantes.
What? No, but I'm saying he's slow. If a guy goes past him in midfield, we have no chance. That's what I'm saying more. Yes, he's very mobile on the ball, but in defense, with those two against a fast team, a fast midfielder, well, a Kaká would destroy us. A Kaká would score 5 goals against us with this.
But you know what the issue with Diaz is? I noticed that it's not that he's slow. He tends to get on the wrong side of the defender, and he tends to try to tackle from like behind instead of getting around, because he can do that, and he shows that sometimes. But sometimes he just tries to tackle.
You can get away with being on the wrong side of the defender a lot more if you're fast.
Obviously. But like all those
gets away with it all the time.
Because
but like all those combined is.
Oh yeah, no, but that's where it becomes a major flaw. Agreed.
Exactly.
If you're slow, you need to have perfect positioning.
Yeah.
That's the the trade-off to make you viable, or whatever the case. That's something Pellegrini, if you want to play as a winger without pace,
if
we need to learn how to become a master in those small pockets,
Yeah.
And if Fonseca gets over his pride and we could see Cristante and Diawara work together, I think that could be a very good midfield pivot.
I don't know, but you know what the issue for me with
Diawara could save those flaws that Cristante has, because he wouldn't have the pressure of being the last midfielder.
But is Diawara good? Wait, is Diawara good anymore? Because I heard that they streamed a friendly match on YouTube or somewhere, and everyone was saying that Diawara looked awful. He looked in awful form, and versus Sofia, he didn't look good. So I don't know. Maybe Diawara doesn't have motivation and isn't as good anymore. Maybe that's why he isn't playing.
As Ajay asked about Villar, I mean, he can't start every game. Some games he will have to be set out. In those games, I think those two could be a very good combo.
Yeah, well, at that point, I mean, we don't really. Although I guess it all depends on. I mean, because then you have to start asking questions, because the way our rotation works is quite strange, because of certain players who can swap roles. So if you're now going to bring Diawara, that means Carlos Perez is never playing again.
I don't mind.
I mean, agreed, but then you have to sell one,
Yeah.
So then they better get that done. And in fact, honestly, Carlos Perez is probably finished anyway. They should never have bought him outright. He looked fantastic, don't get me wrong, but he never ever looked good enough to usurp a Zaniolo when he's fit.
I agree, but do you know what? I rewatched the Crotone game after, anyways, I rewatched it, and I saw that a lot of the time, Carlos Perez played it was so clear that he had no confidence, because he never took his player on. He never pushed forward. And I think that's the difference between last year and this year. Maybe if he gets the confidence back, and I'm not saying he can do that. I don't know if he can do that at Roma. Maybe he needs a loan. Maybe he won't. Maybe he just doesn't have the head for it. I don't know. But maybe then he can become good enough to be a backup.
I'm saying if we can make a profit on Carles, I'm saying do it right now. If we get a 50 million offer, I'm saying do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost weird, because in retrospect, we paid the same for Under.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, Perez looked like a steal. Getting 10 million for a player with that potential seemed...
I guess, but I mean, listen, if we think of it this way, we loan out Under for 25.
Yeah.
Option to buy for 25. We used our profit on Under to buy Carlos Perez.
Yeah.
So we might as well have just stuck with the player who was, although maybe they really, like, Carlos Perez is shockingly, unexpectedly disappointing, and they really thought he was the perfect man for this role.
Yeah.
But from what I see, Under is probably a better option.
Yeah.
When he's available. Like Under has that unwavering confidence. He'll generate something every game.
Since Under isn't getting that much playing time at Leicester, I don't think they're gonna buy him. Do you think he still has a chance to make it in this team with Fonseca's established?
No, not if we have Fonseca. I don't think so, because otherwise
I don't know. Under the fact that he can't speak Italian.
Yeah,
it's impossible for that. Clivert more so, I think, has a chance.
Maybe.
If anyone has a chance, I'm saying more than Under.
Yeah, probably. And Under, if Under can't even get playing time ahead of Albright, and then maybe there is something wrong with him.
Apparently, I think he's quite overweight now.
Yeah, exactly. There is that something wrong, you know. Anyways, I think we're getting a bit sidetracked.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back into the Inter. Like, it was a good discussion, but getting back to the Inter game, which I feel like is fresh in our minds. The Sasha, I know Sasha doesn't quite agree with me on this. I felt like there was not a good, it wasn't a good game from Fonseca or from the mental aspect, because we still crumbled. But I saw a different type of way we reacted. First, to going 1-0 up, we kept on keeping possession at least and trying to attack until like the 30th, and then they just pressed on too much. 30th, 35th.
Yeah,
and then when we went down,
work when the game started, I came in the 30th minute, and until halftime, and I didn't see Roma have the ball once.
Yeah, no, exactly. But then, even then, we kept our shape, and we limited them quite well, and we defended well. Then second half, first 20 minutes or something, awful. Like, we didn't do anything. But then I liked the reaction more than I did versus Atalanta and versus Napoli to going down, because we pressed on in a way that we didn't before. And I don't know, the general, like, what we did was much better than in both of those games. I know Sasha doesn't agree with me, so go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like bottom line, we could have easily lost this game 4-1, and then we would not be saying this. Like, that's all I really have to say about this. We easily could have been 4-1. Paul Lopez 2 miracle saves. And the other thing is, sorry, I don't think we created one high quality chance in this match.
The Mkhitaryan shot would have been high quality.
I don't even. That's a good chance, but I mean, like,
no chance that should have.
There was no opportunity. Like, they had a chance to tap in.
Yeah.
You know, like, so.
No, we didn't have like a clear, like, 90%
and then you have a
chance.
moron who subs on Kolarov for Hakimi. You get, like, so. Yeah, I don't. Maybe in the sense that it's good we got the draw, because maybe these oaks, like you told me yesterday, can lie to themselves and now believe themselves more. But in terms of what we actually saw, for me, this was no better or worse than Napoli and Atalanta. And I think we were probably more unlucky in those games and a bit more lucky in this game.
And by the way, this might sound a bit ridiculous, but the way the team celebrated both was good and bad, in my opinion. I feel like celebrating like that, having that passion and energy is good, don't get me wrong. But I would have liked to see just get the ball out of the net, start to play, and go for another. That would have been a huge difference for me. Because that would to go and win the game, and instead of being happy of getting a draw.
But I feel like also right now we're in a spot, or like the team, I feel, is in a spot after the Napoli and the Atalanta games, where we feel like we will always get crushed by these big teams. So maybe this was like, we can do it, and this was like the way back. And as I said, this wasn't a good game, but it was a step in the right direction. I hope they can take the next step now.
And I feel like the players are very much on the same page.
Yeah,
I feel like they fight for each other when they actually fight, and not bend over like Napoli and Atalanta. But I mean, when was the last time we saw even signs of disagreements in the locker room, on the field, everything? We had Mancini and Zaniolo last season. We have Dzeko and Fonseca.
But like those aren't disagreements in the same way. Like, it's Dzeko and Fonseca, sure, maybe, but we don't know.
It feels like the team has found a pretty good harmony with each other.
Exactly.
They enjoy playing with each other, and they encourage each other in a way that's.
But what I was gonna say was, like, with the Zaniolo and also Dzeko and Pellegrini, I've had a few, like, not fights, but like disagreements. But it's in a good way, because it's to improve each other, and it's constructive criticism in a way. which is a good thing because they trust each other enough to tell each other off, and that's how you grow, I think. So yeah, but there are definitely.
And I think it's actually like, if I look back on it, maybe it's actually a good thing that Jaco can tell Fonseca, "You're a fucking idiot." Maybe it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if he can't, who's going to tell the coach that? We don't have a sporting director. Well, we didn't then, at least.
Yeah.
So
True.
And what Jaco must trust Pallotta to deliver the message. Thank you very much. So maybe, and do you know what? Jaco might have been spot on, because as far as I'm concerned, that Sevilla game was also identical to these 3 games.
Yeah.
And the only difference is we never scored.
Yeah, and managers can't get off without accountability, which is very important. With a captain has to hold him accountable.
Yeah, I agree.
And another small detail, you see that there's a difference between Zaniolo going and celebrating on his own after scoring a 6th, and the team celebrating like they do with the goals now. You saw the Sampdoria game, everyone.
No, but Zaniolo is a ridiculous guy. I was actually looking back on it. That goal against Spal, no, was it Empoli where his first goal back?
Brescia.
No,
Brescia, yeah.
Brescia, and he goes, and I just looked at it and I was actually like, "You're such a cunt." That's all I could say. Like, why don't you go run and hug the oak who gave you a throw?
Exactly.
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Go like, oh yeah.
The last season, when they finished 4th, they had their miracle season, big whoop-de-doo. But every goal, they went and celebrated together. They ran to the bench. I mean, it was clear that they were a team.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more evident for this team now.
Oh, and also, Sebe, I just want to say, I strongly disagree with the pick the ball up and go, just because I agree they should have the mentality to go get another goal. But in terms of that celebration, listen, it's a massive game. It's against a rival, and you've just got a last-minute equalizer. I don't think any Oak is not going to lose it at that moment, you know? I mean, look, against Milan, we never picked the ball out of the net to go get a 4th. Ronaldo never picked the ball out of the net to go get a 3rd versus us, nor did Skriniar when they scored the 1st.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, in these massive games, emotions take over in those moments.
Also, we had to remember at the start of the season, we were like predicted to finish like 6th, 5th.
Yeah.
Inter were predicted to win the Scudetto. So this is, like logically, before the season, you would say that Inter should win both these games against us.
I mean, those things change very fast.
I know, but it's still like, this is still a big result for us. Getting a draw versus Inter, because they have a much better team. They have, and should be much better.
And the fact that the big footballing mastermind Antonio Conte said that we are challengers.
I think he just said that too.
He wanted to save his own ass for the subs.
Yeah, partly, and also for the players to not feel too bad. But besides the point, I feel like
about the elbow.
Huh?
No, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
But did he not cry about
it? Crying. It's not. It's
no,
not.
But did Conte? I know Skriniar cried.
Oh,
did
Conte. I don't think so.
If he didn't, well done to him, because that's a first in his fucking life.
Yeah.
True. But anyway, Skriniar crying is just, come on.
Oh,
it's a normal.
You got absolutely dominated, you little pussy.
Just like Barella crying with at the first goal.
That one is worse. That one is worse, because Barella, you make that fucking challenge 3 times a match, you puss.
Yeah.
Now, because it happens to Prince Barella, it's not allowed. Shut up.
Skriniar is the biggest fake tough guy, and Barella is the biggest diva.
Yeah.
I would love to see Skriniar versus Manolas 1-on-1. They would both pull out injured 2 days before the fight, and it'd be cancelled.
I just wanted to see him. I love seeing Mancini hurt Skriniar.
Bitch him like that.
And
it's even better because, you know what? That is such a fucking Materazzi goal.
Yeah.
To throw an elbow into an Oak as you score the equalizer. You see Mancini.
Of Mancini going like this to Skriniar.
Really?
No.
No.
I wish he did. But and then the thing, I think the final point we have to make on this game is Jaco.
Mhm.
If you do not sort your because against Napoli, sorry, the one other game, his worst game was Napoli.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's two now, where your team captain has saved you. Well, sorry, the one where you let your team down, the other one where your team saved your ass.
Yeah.
Juve.
Now,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
He had an overall decent game, but it's still.
Conte,
Yes,
the
he didn't
difference
even
is
have a good touch.
Conte, the
once.
difference is between in the Napoli and the Inter game, Dzeko wasn't on the field. In
No,
Juve,
exactly.
he took a good chance.
10 men.
But the one thing I was really able to defend Dzeko with is he is a big game player. He comes up clutch when you need him. Now, first the Juve game, he kind of he had a decent game, but he still was a reason to why we partly the reason
agreed.
why we
He wasn't clutch. He didn't deliver.
Napoli awful. Atalanta second half, it was the whole team, but it's still as the captain maybe you should do better. First half world class still, and now
I don't agree with that one because he's 35.
Yeah.
If he has a great first half and he falls off in the second half, I will forgive him that.
Okay,
he's 35, and he scored a goal. As long as saying we bought Mayoral for a reason, and if the coach doesn't use him, it's not on Dzeko. No. If he's out of steam, he's out of steam.
I'm not blaming him. I'm saying that now, what can we justify having him as a starter with? Why is he our starter?
Well, I mean, a game like this, I think going forward, I said it already. What you have to do is against Lazio, you give him the first 60 minutes. Yeah. If it's let's say he's having a great game, it's 1-0, keep him on. He's having a great game, it's 1-0 to us, keep him on. He's having a shocker, you bring on Mayoral at 60.
Yeah.
Or let's say we 2-0 up, 3-0 up, you bring Mayoral up at 60, on at 60. And if we 2-3-0 up, Dzeko's had a great game, whatever. If he's had a shocker, I think you need to bring Mayoral on and then start him against Spezia as well, because you almost have to send a message to Dzeko that it's not acceptable.
Why was Mayoral not subbed on earlier today?
And it has to happen.
I think Fonseca is so scared that he subs Mayoral, we lose, and then people say it's your fault for subbing Dzeko.
And I think this is also an issue that maybe he doesn't feel enough backing. I don't know if it's from the fans or from the board. Maybe this is why we play so, we play like we're scared a lot of the time.
But then again, he said it's a tactical thing. But I guess if he himself is scared, his players will.
No, I said it's not a tactical thing when we fall back.
No, I know,
because he wants.
I'm saying you said it's not a tactical thing, so I doubt he's telling them to defend in case he loses his job.
Yeah, no, that I agree. But I mean, if the coach is scared, it's gonna rub off on the players.
Agreed.
So maybe he doesn't feel enough backing from the board. Maybe he's just not a strong character. I don't know. It's very hard to tell. But yeah.
I don't think it's that he's not a strong character. I think he has shown he is a strong character. But
yeah, true.
But I mean, you can't. Fonseca, it would be so different if we lost 2-1 and you change something at 60 minutes. Fucking try. It's not I'm saying when everyone in the stadium can see it's not working.
Yeah. Although we have to applaud him for subbing out Veretout instead of Villar, because Villar was having a worse game than Veretout up until that point, but he still saw that Villar is more needed in this situation. Cristante Villar works better, and it worked out. So that I was very, because when I saw him and when I saw Cristante warming up, I was like, oh fuck, now Villar comes off. But then I saw Veretout going off, and I was very happy. So that's props to Fonseca for having the balls to do that. Other than that, I don't know if Pellegrini's performance we have to mention. I don't think we have.
He scored in the big game.
Huh?
He scored in the big game for the first time since his derby back heel.
And he got an assist in the Milan game, so that's 2 big games now where he's done
something.
Yeah, but important in contributions, and had 2 very good games, and this was a huge problem last year. So big improvements.
I mean, this guy's just getting. He's like a top 2 player in almost every game.
He's getting better.
Even when we're getting smashed 4-0, Pellegrini's still having a great game. You know,
Yeah.
like he is someone, at least one bright spot in the team. You know, so that's such a huge change to what he was doing at some points.
Exactly.
He's finally seemed to understand not only his strengths and limitations, but he has understood how to impact the game from anywhere, and he has understood. He has understood that he is a leader in this team, and that it's his job to deliver every week because there are other guys who aren't.
Mainly, I would say he's understood how to handle pressure, because I feel like that was a big issue for him. That he was like, in the big games, maybe he felt too much pressure to do too much, and then towards the second half of last season, it was like that every game. He just wanted to do too much. Now he's like,
I do think he stepped up beyond handling pressure, because he stepped up in the sense that he's taken it on himself that he's going to be the best player in a successful Roma side. Yeah. That's what he's playing like.
But he's also understood that he can't do everything by himself.
Agreed. Obviously, he's going to be the best player he can be.
Yeah.
And in the end, it turns out that is one of the best players in this team. Yeah, and that doesn't intimidate him.
And he's looking more and more like a captain every game.
Really is. But yeah, very, very good from him.
Mancini overall, aside from the goal, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Put Martinez in his back pocket.
Yes.
And he did. The only time Martinez got away is when Lukaku hospitalized him.
Exactly. He handled Lukaku so...
that's a fantastic attacking move.
It's very good. Also, horrible from Karstrup in that situation, because he needs to come inside and close down that space. Lukaku shouldn't just have a freeway when being able to turn Mancini, because Mancini didn't do well, but it's Lukaku. Of course he's going to turn. Karstrup got to see that and close down that gap.
And Bruno Perez made a decent sub, speaking of wingbacks.
Huh?
Bruno Perez made a decent sub, speaking of wingbacks.
Yeah. He was okay, but
he did more than Spinazzola.
But Spinazzola was half
injured. All of them were horrible.
Yeah. Spinazzola, horrible game, but he was half injured, clearly.
I think.
I think this is the first game where I've seen Spinazzola do a seriously bad performance defensively.
Yeah.
Second, Milan.
Wait, what?
Against Milan, he was shocking.
No, that was just
defensively.
Sorry, were you saying defensively?
Yeah, just defense. He's had a few bad attacking games, but defensively, purely, this is the first game he's done badly, I think. Hakimi completely.
Not that, and I mean, listen, he's up against a player of note.
But he's up against Hakimi and just came back from injury, so he has excuses, but still. It's more like props to him for being so good defensively that this is the first time he does badly.
There was something else I want. Oh yeah, about the Lukaku. If you swap our strikers today, the number 9s, we win the game maybe 3-0.
Yes,
because that's what a difference. He made Inter twice as good, and Dzeko made us twice as bad. Yeah. I mean, like, it was what a player. Like must say, Lukaku, absolute monster.
A guy like Lukaku.
And even Smalling defending like that, the Oak still generates chances and although he should have scored, but
it was a very good save by Pau. So
save. But I think he can do better on there.
He can direct better, shortly.
Boys, if we keep a clean sheet in the derby, is the Mapau gone? Will it be Pau?
Yes. If we keep a clean sheet in the derby, he's good. He's actually good.
He will be just Pau.
No, well, actually, fuck that. If he has a great game in the derby, he's goated. I mean, you know what? We must take it away from him if they have a 2-on-1 and tap it in or something. You know,
or Immobile penalty.
Yeah, that's just something that'll irritate me. But yeah, I mean, derby.
Do we have anything to say about the derby?
I think we should win the derby. I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be a 50-year-old Italian, but you know, the derby. And, you know, you can never, because the atmosphere. Bottom line, we are better. We should win the derby. If we don't, fuck Fonseca and these idiots. If we do, fantastic. But bottom line, no, none of these excuses of, but you know the derby, how can you predict it? No, you're better than them, kill them. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, I'll predict 2-0 for the derby, maybe 3-1. But I think we'll beat them by 2 goals. I think we'll beat them in a sense where we've won the game and we're not.
The only thing I'm a bit worried about is the midfield battle. But I feel like we shouldn't hide away from saying that we should win.
I think, do you know what I think? I think the difference is they don't have a Lukaku.
Yeah.
With all respect to Immobile, he's not even a shadow of a Lukaku.
The thing is that even though Lukaku has a world-class defense on win, he will still do something. Immobile gets isolated very easy.
And then the other huge thing is I think Correa is injured.
Yeah.
And Correa, because that oak can dribble 6 oaks. That's the only oak on Lazio. Yes, Luis Alberto, but if you're marking Immobile hard, it doesn't matter how good the oak plays a through ball. It doesn't matter.
And Alberto hasn't been.
Savic, you might need Cristante in this game.
Yeah, I should see Cristante and actually Veretout.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know because I perhaps want. Part of me does want a VR, so because maybe he's just the best when he's playing well.
Yeah.
And maybe get a bit of confidence from that assist, and I don't know. I'd almost want a.
Look, I'll say it like this.
But I'd almost consider it because I just think Cristante is better suited to.
For me, this game, we should have more. We should dominate the ball. We should have more possession. Therefore, VR Cristante should play because Cristante brings the physicality. VR is just better on the ball than Veretout. But
I really don't see Veretout being best this game. I mean, I want to.
No. Exactly. This is what should happen, but it's not what will happen.
Exactly. I think we're going to play more defensive than that, and therefore maybe Veretout is the better option because he can bring that running that I feel like the midfield could be a bit static defensively with Cristante and VR.
I feel that it depends on the game plan. If we want to purely isolate and prohibit their players, I feel like Cristante and Veretout, because Veretout could probably make Luis Alberto have a pretty bad game. But I feel like if it's a game where Fonseca wants us to take charge and be in command, I feel like Villar should start.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think I can predict this game. We should win, as you say. We should expect a win, but I just can't predict it because I feel like we could completely collapse and have a shit game, or we could just play well and win the game. So
the one thing that makes me very confident is Lazio's defense.
Yeah, same.
Is Strakosha back or is it still Peperina?
No idea.
Because if they start, I mean, they will start either Radu, Hoot, or Bastos.
I mean, those against Veretout and Pellegrini will...
Or Patrick. They will start one of those 4 players, at least.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and Mkhitaryan will just...
Yeah. Yep.
And
those guys are idiots too. Like, they don't... Their brain just doesn't...
Who are their fullbacks?
Yeah, I think it's Marusic and
Lazzari.
Fares.
Lazzari.
Lazzari,
no?
Zola will absolutely cook Lazzari.
Yeah.
He will cook Lazzari.
Yes.
But Lazzari is good on counters. I understand that.
Yes.
But in terms of one-on-one, oh my goodness, God help that guy.
Yeah.
God help that guy.
Unfortunately, I do think Karlstad will be very isolated because he mainly just has pace and Marusic is very fast. So
is it?
But
I think there's a big risk.
But Marusic seems to have even less brains than their centre backs.
I know, but he's like Karlstad won't do. He isn't one to.
Rick will all of a sudden play a 1-2 around him or something like that.
Yeah, but
I think that is where
Rick needs space.
Rick, instead of crossing, will cut the ball back. Things like that. It's not all about dribbling a guy.
I know, but Rick still needs space because he doesn't. He puts in that great pass, but it's not often that he has he invents something or like a 1-2. He doesn't do that often enough.
I have to disagree because Rick is very smart defensively. He sees when to either overlap and do
Defensively,
and there's so many times when he comes in from behind centrally to be another outlet for a pass. And
no, I agree. But I mean, he doesn't have that creativity that he doesn't like make things happen in the same way that Spinazzola, even Bruno Perez does. He does everything with high quality. He just doesn't, I don't know, think of things. Like he isn't creative like I think he needs to be. So I think there is a risk that he might get isolated. Saying this, maybe Marusic will be an idiot. Maybe Carter will dominate him. I hope so. But yeah. Anyways, I don't think we have much more to add, do we?
really?
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's good, guys.
All right. Good episode. We'll be back after the Lazio game and hopefully with a win.
Forza Roma.
Forza Roma. Bye, guys.